three-pointer. Bang! Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Pack the bags, start the plane. This game is over.
Hey y'all, we're back with another podcast. We got Week 10 recap today. We have NFL power rankings, teams on the rise, teams on the decline, some great NFL news, my last week's score, which was pretty good, and then new predictions and the best matchups for next week. Now let's get into it. First off, we had Buccaneers, Panthers. The Panthers made this competitive at first. First half was pretty competitive. Ronald Jones obviously had the huge 98-yard touchdown run. That kind of switched the tide. After that point in the game, the Buccaneers ran away with it. The Buccaneers just kept scoring touchdowns in the second half, and the Panthers defense could do nothing about it. Carolina couldn't stop good old Tom Brady. Teddy Two Gloves getting replaced by P.J. Walker because of injury. And Gronk scores again. This is a great win for the Buccaneers. This is the offense that we needed to see against the Saints. It's what we didn't see. The Buccaneers are still a very good team, but they're definitely going to have to find ways to beat teams like the Saints. Next, we had Texans-Browns. Very, very nasty game. Cleveland weather wasn't good. Both teams couldn't move the ball at all because there was only 3 points in the first half from both teams. The Browns' defense played really strong. Houston obviously scores late with a strong drive from Deshaun Watson, but it's not enough. The Browns close out well. Nick Chubb avoids the end zone, pisses off fantasy owners and bettors, but you know what? He gets his team, a big win, 10-7. Browns win that one. Next, we had a pretty exciting game with the Washington football team versus the Detroit Lions because we had the Lions go up early, get a 3-touchdown lead. I'm watching Red Zone. The Red Zone guy goes, this is exactly where the Washington football team wants the Lions, 3 touchdowns down. And at first I was like, you know what? It's true, but it won't happen today. The 3 touchdowns, it's the Washington football team. It happens. They tie the game at 24-24. I mean, DeAndre Swift played really well all day. Good passing back and a great running back. Then they tie the game, right? Washington had a great run with Alex Smith coming back in that game. 16 seconds left. Matt Stafford drives down the field. Prater hits the 59-yarder to win. Big win for the Lions. It's probably not going to be enough to make them have a playoff push, but we'll see. Washington, it puts them very far down in the NFC East because now it's looking like, even though Washington, I think, has one of the easier schedules for the NFC East, it's going to be tough for them to compete with the Eagles and the Giants. Next, we got the Jags, Packers, a lot of closer game than I expected at first. The Packers struggled with running game once again. Aaron Rodgers honestly played a great game. He threw 1 pick, but he played a great game. After he throws the pick, comes back. Next thing he does, finds Devontae Adams in the end zone. I mean, that's what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. The Jags' defense looked a lot stronger against the Packers than I thought they would. Still, 24-20 Packers. Packers get a huge stop in the last drive of the game, which saves the game. Then we got Eagles-Giants, one of the games I picked wrong. I've been really underestimating Danny Dimes, I think, against the teams that are bad, obviously. I mean, obviously, neither of these teams are going to beat good teams. But the Giants can beat some of the teams in the NFC East, and they did it. They beat the Eagles, which is huge for them. Very efficient day for Danny Dimes. The Giants' offense seemed to work pretty well. The run defense was awful from the Eagles. They ran all over them. And the Eagles just missed a lot of opportunities. They turned the ball over. Wentz couldn't get anything going. It's a great win for the Giants, who are looking to hopefully win, I think, 3 of their next 6 games, 4 of their next 6 games, and try to make a run for that NFC East playoff spot. 27-17, Giants win that one. So next we had the Bengals versus the Steelers. Big Ben came out firing, got up to the early lead. The passing game is honestly looking incredible for the Steelers. They stopped the Bengals really well. The Steelers did everything right in this game. see, Joe Burrow had to do a lot. They're down a lot. He has to throw, especially against the Steelers defense that's going to lock him up. It's going to be really hard for a rookie quarterback to do anything. That's what happened. Steelers dominated. I think they're the best team in the NFL. 36-10 Steelers. Wow, what a game. We've got Bills, Cardinals. I mean, I'm watching this live. I'm taking notes, and I'm like, wow, Josh Allen just ended it. Great pass and catch from Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs. I mean, what a play already. Like, I know this is what y'all want to hear about. It's not even the first part of the game, but it's the last minute of this game is incredible. Josh Allen spread the ball out really well all day. Kyler gets his 5th rushing touchdown in 5 games in a row. And honestly, in my opinion, Josh Allen was a little underwhelming in the 4th, except for that last pass. Like, he made some of the key passes, but he missed a lot of them. But at first, I'm like, okay, they clutched it. Stephon Diggs, great catch and throw. And then Kyler drops back, evades a tackler, evades another, throws it down the field, and who's there in a sea of white Bills uniforms? It's DeAndre Hopkins. He pulls it in. Hail Mary touchdown. Cardinals win 32-30. What a game. Oof. One of the best games of the year right there. Broncos, Raiders. See, this is the type of Raiders team that I need to see every week for me to believe in them. They played a really, really great game. They ran the ball so well. Josh Jacobs did so well. They did, and they followed their game plan, and that's what the Raiders need to do. John Gruden is that type of coach. The Raiders just ran. The Broncos couldn't do anything to stop it. Very easy win for the Raiders here. Drew Lock really played terribly, and the Raiders look really good to me this week. This is what you're supposed to do to a bad team, and I'm very excited to see where the Raiders can go after this. Next, we got the Seahawks, Rams. As we see, the Russell turnover woes continue with the interceptions. He's definitely pushing himself out of the MVP race with all these interceptions, honestly. I think a lot of people thought he could contend for the MVP. Not anymore, honestly. Then we got Jared Goff just exposing this weak secondary of the Seahawks. Really tore the Seahawks defense apart here. And he spread the ball out well. I mean, Jared Goff was looking really, really good, in my opinion, better than Russell Wilson. And the Rams really controlled possession, played field position, and pushed the Seahawks out the door in the 5th. I mean, that's what all you can do to a good team is if you follow those things in the 4th quarter, and that's what they did. They played really good 4th quarter football, ended the game, big win against a declining Seahawks team, 23-16 Rams. Next, we got 49ers, Saints. Honestly, the Niners were a little bit more competitive than I thought they would be in this game. Obviously, the scoreline 27-13 doesn't look as competitive, but that last touchdown wasn't till late in the game. Nick Mullins played better than expected. Obviously, not the best, only 13 points, but he played better than expected, I think. And the Saints honestly struggled to score early against the Niners, which was very surprising. I think it was good, though, to see a Niners team that had a little bit of life in it. Kamara and the rest of the crew in the backfield of the Saints just ran, and we have seen no one really stop it this year. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. 27-13, Saints win that one. Next, we got the Chargers, Dolphins. The Dolphins pull off another win. Tua goes 3-0. Man, I love watching the Dolphins. This is a great team to watch, super fun. The Dolphins start off really hot with a great special teams punt block. They've been doing it over and over in these last few weeks. Their special teams, their defense has been playing on fire, one of the best in the league. And Tua didn't have to do much. I mean, the running game was good, and the defense put him in fantastic positions, and that's what this Dolphins team has done to help Tua out. What I've seen is that the Dolphins get you good field position, so it can help Tua not have to make those long drives, those 80-yard drives, those 75-yard drives. He's making 50, 60-yard drives, 40-yard drives, and finding the end zone. It's great for him. Herbert didn't throw very well, missed lots of opportunities, couldn't find the right guys. And the Chargers just can't run the ball. I know they have Austin Eckler hurt, which is really tragic for them, but Dolphins win that one 29-21. Next, we had a surprise game, for me at least. Ravens-Patriots. Baltimore honestly kicked themselves out of this game. Lots of penalties, not great football. They missed a lot of opportunities with Lamar for touchdowns, and Lamar also threw a pick as well. And the biggest key for me is that the Ravens could not stop the run. They did not stop the run all day. All the Patriots running backs just ran up and down the field with no one to stop them, it seems. And they couldn't move the ball too well, obviously, but the thing is the Patriots defense is not as good as it played on Sunday night. So it's very interesting to see that Lamar is struggling with that. And after the first long drive that they had, or no, this first, I think it was the second long drive they had, Lamar scored a touchdown. It was like a 96-yard drive or something. They didn't march down the field after that. And, like, it was just so tough for them. They couldn't do anything. So it's very key that this Patriots defense plays like this for the rest of the year if they have a shot, because the Patriots forced 2 fourth-down stops against Lamar, which was huge. And this makes Cam not have to do as much. With great field position, he can go score pretty easily. 23-17, big win for the Patriots. In the bad weather, Belichick's a god. We know this. Vikings-Bears. Okay, we got Vikings-Bears. The Bears give away a chance in the beginning of the game to score. They force the fumble on the first drive. Huge. And they give the ball right back. I mean, come on. It's just got to be tough to be a Bears fan. You see them not score a single touchdown on offense all game. Their only touchdown was off the Cordarrelle Patterson kick return. And they had 2 field goals other than that. Dalvin Cook, the one thing they did well was they locked up Dalvin Cook. He only had 3.2 yards per carry. But other than that, they couldn't stop the passing game from Kirk Cousins. Justin Jefferson went off for like 120 yards. He's looking like a really good rookie there. And Kirk Cousins threw the ball well enough to get the win here, 19-13 Vikings. So let's look at some power rankings, okay? We got lots of shaking up, I think, in the power rankings here. Maybe not at the bottom, but near the top, a lot of things are changing, especially with the Patriots beating the Ravens. So, obviously, like we've been doing every week, we see the New York Jets down there. Got to feel bad for Jets fans. I send in prayers to all of y'all. We got Jacksonville Jaguars at 31. I think that's fair, but at the same time, the Jags were in a game with the Packers. I would honestly switch the Cowboys and the Jags, because I don't think the Cowboys would even stand a chance against the Packers. But at the same time, the Cowboys hung with the Steelers for a little bit, so maybe it is fair. Obviously, number 30, the Cowboys. 29, the Washington football team. When you can't beat the Lions, you're going to be at the bottom of the league. Let's see. Houston Texans. At number 28, I mean, going into this year, I think so many people were like, Texans, they've got it. They're going to make the playoffs, or at least they're going to be a mid-tier team. And now we see a 2-17 that will not make the playoffs, especially in the stacked AFC. It's going to be really tough for them. It's going to be interesting to see if they'll just tank the rest of the season, get a good draft pick, because I think this is a team that could progress extremely fast. If they got a couple key players, but we'll have to see on that one. Number 27, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, which I don't think that's that fair, dropping them 2 spots because they didn't beat the Steelers. Okay, I get it's a rivalry game, but come on, it's the Steelers. They're the best team in the league. Then we go to number 26. We got the Philadelphia Eagles. Losing to the Giants is really tough for him. It might have put Doug Peterson on the block a little bit, because if you can't beat the Giants in your division, whenever the division was literally spoon-fed to Doug Peterson. Spoon-fed. He said, here you go. The NFC East said, here you go. The NFC East God said, here you go, sir. Your food. He spat it out. Okay, this is what happened. The Giants beat the Eagles. That's very bad for them. They dropped 4 spots this week. I think it's very fair. Then we have the Denver Broncos, absolutely murdered by the Raiders. A game had no chance. Drew Lock does not look good. Okay, that was a terrible start. One of his worst starts, honestly, I've seen. So I think that's very fair, though, 25. They could even be lower, even for a team with 3 wins. Next, we got Carolina Panthers. They're another weird team for me. Obviously, with Teddy Bridgewater out, I think they deserve to be this low because who knows if PJ Walker is going to do anything. I actually want to see him play next week. He was an XFL quarterback, so it's kind of interesting to see. But who knows? Teddy actually might play in that game next week. But if it is PJ Walker, I think that the power ranking could even be lower. Next, they have the Chicago Bears at 23. After they've been skidding, they've dropped 6 spots this week. Oof. The Vikings loss, I think, is the toughest one they've had all season because it's Monday Night Football, and this is the time you show a division rival and the rest of the world, hey, we are here to play for the playoffs. We're here to play for the NFC North Division title. And it just doesn't go your way. It goes exactly the opposite. They can't score a touchdown on offense. Bears fans got to be fuming. It's tough. 23 for the Chicago Bears. And we see the New York Giants move up 6 spots at 3-7, ranked 22 in the league. I like this. I haven't been really believing in Danny Dimes and what the Giants have been doing, but after their win against the Eagles, they can beat the Washington football team. They can beat the Cowboys. So it's very possible this team, if they pull off 3 wins out of their next 6, I think they win the division at 6-10. So it'll be very interesting to see the Danny Dimes in the playoffs make the playoffs for the New York football, baby. Okay, next we got San Francisco 49ers at 21. You could honestly put them in lower. I mean, it's just not fair. They honestly, they're playing backups, and they're playing better than a lot of these teams. It's kind of tough, but 21, I think they could be even lower. Weirdly enough, they have the Detroit Lions at rank 20, moving up 7 spots for beating the Washington football team. I didn't know that beating the Washington football team moved you up 7 spots. Don't agree with this. I think the Lions are definitely like a 24, 25 ranked team. That's really tough. Los Angeles Chargers still at 19. They've only dropped 1 spot. I don't know why NFL believes so much in the Chargers. I do not believe in the Chargers. They're so hurt right now on offense, and they're having to rely on Herbert to sling the ball down the field because their defense can't stop people. This team is not good. I think they should be much farther. I think a team like the Lions is much better. I think a team like the Niners is much better. I think a team like the Giants is better, or even the Bears. I don't think the Chargers are that good. Next, we have the Atlanta Falcons. I like this because Atlanta's been in so many games this year. I mean, they're a couple plays away from being a real, a 4-5 team, maybe even a 5-4 team. So I like that at 18. Next, they have the New England Patriots at 17. Moved up 4 spots this week. I think it might be a little bit of that Patriots hype that's going around, but they have a really tough schedule coming up, and I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to make the playoffs. The AFC playoff picture is so stacked that I don't think there's any room for them. They're going to have to beat some big name opponents, and I just don't think it's going to happen. Number 16, the Minnesota Vikings. They're really streaking upwards, making a play to be one of the better teams in the NFC wildcard race, trying to find that hole in the NFC wildcard to probably try to beat out one of the teams in the NFC West, essentially. But I like them at 16. I know they're kind of on a hype train right now, but I do like that. The Cleveland Browns at 15. I think this is perfect. The Browns are the most mid-tier team I've ever seen. At 6-3, they're really not that great, but they're not that bad. I think that's a perfect ranking for the Browns. Next, we have the Tennessee Titans dropping from 9 to 14. That's really tough for them. I think that it's really tough to watch the Titans flounder like this in the last couple of weeks, but I think 14 is fair. Next, they have the Seattle Seahawks at 13, dropping 5 spots. Yeah, they did not look good. The Seahawks are going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to figure out something on defense, and they're going to have to figure out, A, how to run the ball without Chris Carson, or find a way to get Chris Carson back in that lineup as soon as possible, because he's a key player in that offense. Next, we have the Indianapolis Colts at 12. They moved up 2 spots. I like this. I think the Colts are a big underdog in the AFC. They have the defense to do it. If they can get the running game going and not have to rely on Mr. Phillip Rivers, Mr. Inconsistency, then I think they'll have a good shot. Number 11, they have the Miami Dolphins. I think this is a beautiful pick. I like them a lot. I think that you could even put them at 10 maybe, because they're playing great football right now. Absolutely amazing football. The special teams, defense, and they're letting Tua get opportunities. He hasn't thrown a pick yet. He's been extremely efficient. They're letting him play his offense without having to bomb the ball deep. It's been great. Fun to watch, Dolphins. I love this. Next, we got Los Angeles Rams. I think the Rams came off a big win this last week. And Jalen Ramsey against DK Metcalf. If y'all hadn't seen that, I suggest you go watch it. Fantastic play from Jalen Ramsey. He's honestly probably the best corner in the NFL right now. And he kind of put those rumors of DK Metcalf being the next Megatron to bed. I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen, but to compare him to someone like that and then put him on someone like Jalen Ramsey, and Jalen absolutely locked you up all day, I mean, you can't be doing that. Number 9, we have the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, this is a miracle win. I mean, I think that they might be a little high because most of the time that ball is not going to be caught. It's just not. The Bills win. And then the Arizona Cardinals are 5-4, and that looks a lot different than 6-3. I'm not exactly sure rank 9 is okay for the Cardinals. Next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. They moved up 2 spots. I think this is a great position for them. The Raiders are looking really good. This last week's opponent in the Broncos, obviously not a great team, but goddamn, they played them well. They did exactly what they were supposed to do and blew them out of town. Beautiful football from the Las Vegas Raiders. Next, we got the Buffalo Bills dropping 1 from 6 to 7. You know, the Bills played a great game. I think they're still a great team. I think they could still make the AFC Championship. I think they're a team that could beat a team like the Chiefs or the Steelers. But they're going to have to get lucky, and they were not lucky on Sunday. Let's see. Baltimore Ravens at number 6, moving from 4 to 6. I mean, this was a huge win for the Patriots, but I think the Baltimore could even drop farther from 6. Honestly, I like the Bills better than the Ravens. I like the Raiders better than the Ravens right now. I think that you could honestly put the Ravens down at 8, and I'd be okay with it. Next, we got the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, all these guys playing great football. Even though they only won by 4 to the Jags, you know what? They got it done. A win's a win. It's okay. I like 5 for them. Then we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 4. I mean, they moved back up 3 spots after getting embarrassed by the Saints. I think I would take the Packers over the Bucs. I think even though they beat them, I still think the Packers are a better football team right now. Then we have, obviously, New Orleans Saints, number 3. And then Steelers and Chiefs. I really think Steelers and Chiefs should be flip-flopped. I've been saying this the last 4 weeks. I think the Steelers are the best football team. And I think they have a really good shot at going 16-0. I think this is the best football team in the NFL. Not by much, but I think they are. Okay, so let's look at some teams on the rise. We got Dolphins, Rams, Raiders, Giants. So first, let's go with the Dolphins. 3-0 since Tua comes and plays for the Dolphins at starting quarterback after Fitzpatrick loses his shot. I'm not sure is Tua going to be able to do it. He does. He's been 3-0. Really, the Dolphins defense has been doing it, but you know what? We'll put it on the back of Tua. Next, we got Rams. The Rams have come off some big wins against the Bears and now the Seahawks. Those are, no matter what you say about those two teams, yes, they're declining, but at the same time, they're still 2 good football teams, and you can lose to them. So, you know what? I'll take the Rams as going up. Next, I like the Raiders, and I like the Giants. Raiders because they're running the football really well. Their defense is good. And the Giants because now I'm starting to believe in Danny Dimes and the New York dream of making the playoffs at 6-10. Now let's go to the teams on the decline. Obviously, we got Seahawks, because Russell Wilson cannot stop throwing the ball to the other team. Okay, he might be colorblind. Something might be happening with his eyes because he keeps throwing it to the other side of the field. That's a problem. Next, we got the Eagles. Doug Peterson again spitting out his food, spitting out that spoon-fed NFC East Division title that he wanted so bad. It might be time to go for Doug Peterson. Obviously the Bears, but we can't put him on there every week. You know what I mean? Next, we got the NFL news. Okay, so we got the first thing, which I think is so funny, and I think if you're a Lions fan, a Packers fan, or a Bears fan, or a Jags fan, you need to go do this. I've already done it myself. Take Yannick Ngakoue, okay, and go vote him for the Pro Bowl. Because if he makes the Pro Bowl, it makes the Vikings send a 4th-round pick to the Jags instead of a 5th round. And we got to do what we can to sabotage these other teams, okay? So if you're one of those fans, go vote for Yannick Ngakoue, because the contract they signed says that if he makes the Pro Bowl, the Vikings have to send him a 4th-round pick. I mean, come on. You just got to go do it if you're one of those teams. I mean, come on. It'd be so great to see him make it just to spite the Vikings. Next, we got the Giants in NFL news because they fired their O-line coach after he got in a fist fight with the head coach. I mean, this is perfect New York style football. This is like what we like to see out of New York. I think this will fire up the boys, fire up Danny Dimes, and that's what we want to see. Next, we got Drew Brees with cracked ribs and a collapsed lung, and he's out indefinitely. So we're about to see the return of the baseball player, the return of Florida State, the return of Mr. Crab Legs himself, who's going to eat some W's with the Saints, Jameis Winston. It's going to be beautiful to see. Next, we can look at our last week's score. I honestly did really well. Last week I told y'all, I said, hey, I want to be 11 for 13. That's the goal. If I can get 11 for 13, that's peak. Obviously I can get 12 for 13, 13 for 13, but it's just not going to happen, okay? 11 for 13 is the goal. Last week we hit 10 of 13, okay? The only games I got wrong, let's look. We got Eagles-Giants, okay? I wasn't on the Giants hype train yet. I now am, okay? I see you, New York football Giants fans, okay? Bills-Cardinals. I lost that on a Hail Mary, so you know what? I could honestly put a little 10.5 asterisk there. Next, we got Ravens-Patriots. Bill Belichick has this sense of football whenever there's bad weather that you cannot explain, okay? I think if you look at the stats of Bill Belichick and bad weather, he's probably undefeated. The dude's a god, okay? So, you know what? 10 for 13, I'll take that. Next, we got to look at our predictions for next week. We're going for that 11 for 13. That's all we want to see. So we have a really great Thursday night matchup this week. I'm getting the podcast out early so I can actually pick this Thursday night matchup. So now I'm looking for about 12 for 14 or 11 for 14 on picks next week. But we have a great Thursday night matchup with Cardinals, Seahawks. I'm going to take Cardinals. I'm going to take Kyler Murray, even though this matchup is, the Cardinals, I believe, took the first one. I don't think the Seahawks are going to be able to get this one done. They're just declining. They didn't have they had a short week coming off after a loss. I just don't see the Seahawks winning this game. Cardinals will win that one. Next, we got Titans, Ravens, two teams that seem to be declining a little bit. It'll be very interesting. Because the Patriots ran all over the Ravens last week, I think Derrick Henry's going to do the same. Because if Rex Burkhead's running all over you and Damian Harris, then Derrick Henry's going to eat you up. I'll take the Titans here. Next, we got the Lions, Panthers. I mean, this one, honestly, I think it could go either way. If Teddy starts, I'm like wishy-washy. But if PJ Walker starts, I think the Lions take this one. So I'm going to go Lions. Next, we got Eagles, Browns. I'm going to take the Browns, even though they won a nasty game against the Texans. This is definitely a winnable game for the Eagles, but I think the Browns will take this one. Next, we got Patriots, Texans. I'll take the Patriots coming off a good win. Then we got Packers, Colts. Oof. Again, this comes down to quarterbacks for me, and obviously the Colts defense is really good. But what we've seen from the Packers is they can't beat teams that run the ball well. The Colts do not run the ball that well. With Marlon Mack they did, but they do not run it that great. I'm going to take the Packers here. Steelers, Jags. Obviously, the Steelers. Come on. I mean, Luton is just not going to get it done. Falcons, Saints. I'll take the Saints, but I think... Ooh, but Jameis. Should I pick the... Do I pick the upset here? Do I pick the Falcons, Saints upset? It's possible. It's very possible. Ooh. Nah, I'm going to go with Saints. I think Kamara will tear it up. Bengals, Washington football team. I'm going to take the Bengals here. And then Cowboys, Vikings. Obviously, I'll take the Vikings. Chiefs, Raiders. I'm going to take the Chiefs. Dolphins, Broncos. It's Dolphins all the way. I said I'm going to pick them until they make me look bad, until they lose. And I'm picking the Dolphins. Jets, Chargers. This is a winnable game for the Jets here. It really is. Is that? I feel like that's bad to pick a team like that's 0-9, but I really want to, and I'm gonna do it. Jets win this week against the Chargers. Rams, Buccaneers. I'm gonna take the Buccaneers, and those are all my picks. And now let's look at the best matchups for next week, the ones that I'm gonna be watching, that I want to talk about next week, and I want to hear about y'all. So we got Cardinals, Seahawks for the Thursday night game. I think that's one of the best games of the week right there. Divisional. It's gonna be very exciting. Probably not a lot of defense. Packers, Colts will be very good because I'm excited to see how the Colts try to stop Aaron Rodgers. Rams, Buccaneers. Obviously, we have the Rams defense versus the Buccaneers superstar athletes with all the big names, but they've got some losses. It's not just getting Gronk and Antonio Brown and all these things. They got to have the chemistry, and I'm not sure if they have that yet. Raiders and Chiefs. I think this will be a good one. I think this will be a lot closer than people think, but I think the Chiefs will prevail in that one. I think Pat Mahomes is just a little bit better. Okay, well, that's it. I'll see y'all next week.